Labadiena and welcome to the workshop. Today I will be making a custom fit epoxy shelves, and if you are following this channel at least for a while, you know that I already done this project. It was a success and client wants more, so I decided to help them. So this video will be more of a step-by-step process with less wandering and figuring things out, and hopefully with fewer mistakes. And you are probably asking me how applicable is this? Well, not much. But if you have an irregular surface and you have to fit a casting against that surface and you can't do the pour in place, then it's a gold mine, or at least something very useful. So let's begin with making the actual panels. So the panels are prepared. Now I have to make a box for the imprint. And the whole purpose of that box is to register where the imprint is located, as well as holding the shape of it. Support boxes are done, and these oak strips are just to keep the upper panels stiff. I haven't done anything to the lower ones because it doesn't really matter. And if you haven't seen the previous episodes, probably this whole thing doesn't make any sense. But simply put, these boxes are for packing the clay. I will place them on top of the table, and I will pack clay inside of these channels, imprinting the irregular shape of the live edge. I have a chunk of clay here. I'm gonna cut it into strips, so packing it into the boxes would be quicker and easier. And tomorrow we're gonna go to the client's place to copy the edge of the table. So I have the imprints done, and the next step will be to take this out of the form, place it on the flat surface, and create a negative copy of these. And for that I will use gypsum. Once the gypsum casting has hardened, I flipped it over so it would be facing the same side as the tabletop I was taking the imprints off of. Then I've placed a few sheets to level it up, and now I have to seal it with silicone so it would be watertight, and also silicone will prevent the epoxy from sticking to the casting. So now I have to let the silicone to fully cure. In the meantime, I will prime these boards with epoxy, so no air bubbles would be released once I will do the main pour, and also it should seal all the potential leak points. So it's the next day and silicone has set, as well as the epoxy on these boards. And the next step will be to create a tiny lip around these boards so the epoxy wouldn't spill over. And then I'm gonna glue these onto the form using the same silicone. Silicone had a full night to cure, so it's time to pour the epoxy. As far as my knowledge goes, most epoxy brands have resin and at least two different hardeners going with the same resin. So the rapid hardener for the top coats, for the thin layers, and the slower setting one for the deeper pores. So at this stage, it would be smart to mix a quicker setting epoxy and spill it on the bottom so it would completely seal the bottom. It's beneficial because smaller amounts don't build up that much pressure, so therefore they don't leak that fast, and also it sets quicker. So after this stage is done, you can be sure that the bottom is completely sealed. Unfortunately, in my case, I can't do that because the hardeners of this brand mixes with the different ratios, and I have to use a colored resin so the colors wouldn't match. And that's crucial in this case. So I will hope for the best and I will fill the forms all the way up. Approximately 3 days passed since I poured the resin, so it's safe enough to take it out of the form. So next step is to remove the overflown epoxy, soften the edges, and lastly polish the surface. So these are finally finished and ready to be installed. And by the way, I've sprayed some lacquer on all the exposed parts, exposed wooden parts, so the panels wouldn't absorb any moisture from the atmosphere, and hopefully this will help to stay them flat. Well, anyhow, the final step is to put these in place, so let's go to the client's place and install these. So the project is complete. I hope there was at least a tiny speck of useful info in this process. Sincerely thank you for watching, and I really hope to see you soon. Bye bye.